Hey guys, I'm back. What's going on?
Loretta Lynch, you want him to see how much Linda, but that's none of your business. Clinton gets out of his limo, walks on that plane, and sits down in a seat.
While his wife is under investigation.
Bingo. The one that just came out, 33,000 emails are missing, right? So,
33,000.
33,000 emails, right? That's a number. So anyway, Clinton just sits there. Loretta Lynch, you want him to see how much Splenda I'm putting. That's none of your business.
I love that.
I like it sweet, but I can't handle the sugar. So anyway, Clinton sits down, does a teleconference, video conference with his phone with Hillary on the other end of it. The NSA recorded every second of that meeting.
Wow.
Now, here's what was said, because Q released this in a sort of a so-and-so way. In other words, didn't come right out and say it, but this is what he was getting at. That Loretta Lynch was the one human being on the planet that would have investigated Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, which is against the law, and what was in those 33,000 missing emails. What was in those emails was every dirty deal that Hillary Clinton made with enemies of the United States of America, exchanging American cash, like the pallets of money that went to Iran.
Yeah.
American cash with a kickback to the Clinton Foundation. So they're now filthy rich. They got millions of dollars in this foundation.
Hundreds of millions.
Hundreds. So anyway, Clinton says, you know, what if a certain seat on the Supreme Court ended up just becoming vacant here before too long? Wow. That was before Scalia died.
Yeah, perfectly in his sleep at his
in
ranch.
one of the few places in the country where they don't automatically do an autopsy on somebody who dies of natural causes. If he'd have died in D.C., what would they have done?
Oh, an autopsy right away.
He's in one of the few places in America where they don't automatically do an autopsy on a dead body. Okay? So they say to Lynch, we're offering you a Supreme Court seat. Hillary's gonna win the election. You're gonna get on the Supreme Court, and what you're not gonna do is investigate. Okay?
Wow.
Then they get off the plane. Then an anonymous tip comes in. Well, it's not anonymous to us. The reporter knows, but he's not going to name it. The reporter knows who it was. It's a trusted source inside the government, he said. So anyway, he comes out with this story. Nobody, see, why does Clinton meet Lynch on a tarmac? Because that's a secure area. Who can go out there? Reporters can't go out there.
Only
nobody
security.
Exactly.
Government security.
Okay, so that's why he did it that way, so he wouldn't get caught. It wasn't supposed to be known that he was going to meet her, because nobody was supposed to know about it. Nobody could have seen it. Okay, so then a reporter comes out. This guy said, they asked him if you had death threats. He said, are you kidding me? He said, I've had multiple death threats. This reporter did, because he knows too much. Okay, so the bottom line is, Q is saying, and has been saying all this time, that at some point there is going to be an operation take place, and some of these deep state people are going to be arrested.
I'm gonna lie, you guys. I thought I was off topic, but I thought I was being charged more for my storage, and come to find out they're not charging me more. Oh,
Obama, when he, at his first inauguration, after he gave his speech, went right in to the White House, sat down at a desk, and signed a piece of paper saying, "I'm going to tear down Guantanamo Bay, the prison that they had down there for terrorists."
Yep.
Okay, it's the first thing he did. I watched it. Okay, I remember that day. Trump spent $100 million building that up. If you look at a before and after picture, you can clearly see the difference.
Sure.
Okay? Now, I don't know. Again, I don't know how true any of that is, but it makes a very compelling story, because let's say that, and there's a lot of pictures that Q has released where he has been within the direct vicinity of the President of the United States. Took a picture. There's a picture that Q released of the back of President Trump as he's getting off Marine One, and the picture was taken from inside Marine One.
So he's somebody that's close to the
Somebody, that's the working. That's what it's called a Q proof. Look up Q proof, and you'll see things like that. Now, that makes, if all of this is true, you would think that the deep state then would try to get rid of the President of the United States. What's been happening since Donald Trump, before Donald Trump took office?
Well, they called for his impeachment before he even was inaugurated.
They did worse than that. They bugged Trump Towers.
Yeah, he said Obama. Oh, he said I remember watching that. He goes, Obama tapped my wires. That's what he said.
You know who told him that?
Yeah.
Q.
Oh, is that who told him? I didn't know that.
I mean, he said, and one of the things that Q said was, look at the dates. Trump finds out his office is tapped. He moves out the next day. He said, look at the dates.
He moved out the next day.
He moved out the next day. Because here's what happened. According to Q, and according to there's some other sources that can back this up. You can look this up. Obama used Comey, James Comey, director of the FBI, and a couple other guys that have been named in this to go to the FISA court. FISA court is a secret court to subpoena phone records or wiretaps on an elected official. Okay, it has to be secret because if they find out about it, then that blows the cover. So what they did was, and they're being caught in this. This is a known thing. That we know that they lied to the FISA court.
Oh yeah,
because they were saying that Trump was being
and the head of the CIA did.
And
it was Comey and the head of the CIA that lied about that.
Okay, so what's Trump done since he's gotten to be president? He has replaced top people at the FBI. In some cases, he had to let them show themselves whose side they were on.
It was like a. See, I always thought that there was something because. You know, I'm skeptical of all politicians anyway.
Yeah.
But I did think,
should be.
But when I looked at it, I said, you know, there's something up with this, though. There has to be, because there's no way in the world, like this president, I've never seen one under siege so much in my life.
Exactly.
Where, like, he's not even allowed to be the man. Like, I mean, he does because he runs his mouth anyway. But when you look at it, like, all those other guys, they were allowed to, like, be the man. Like, they were just like, no, this is done. It's over. And everybody was like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
He's like the only guy that's come in where they're like, no, it's not over.
It's not just hatred. It's fear.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would think, okay, have they tried to assassinate him? Look this up. Just off the coast of Washington State, missile fired at Air Force One. There's a picture of it on the internet. Look it up.
Right, but what about also all these weird Chinese nationals that sneak into Mar-a-Lago or whatever it's called, and they're over there, and then all of a sudden they find out they're like spies.
Yeah.
Then you have these Chinese people that are coming onto these bases, and they're like walking on the base, like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I was lost.
Oh, on top of that, and this I know for a fact. The first time I ever bought security cameras for our church, I bought a few cameras, we put them up, and then I had them linked to a computer, because I had a program that would capture the cameras, record any action on it, and I'd have it on a computer. And I noticed that because we had a router that kept logs. Every now and then I looked at the logs of the router, and I kept noticing that about every 30 seconds or so, something was going out to the same website. It's an IP address.
Yes.
So I typed in the IP address to find out who owned it, and it was a company in China owned by the Chinese government. So what I knew then was that the images from that camera was going to a place off-site in China somewhere. They were recording what was going on in our church. Then, a few years later, it's announced that the government has bought thousands of these cameras, all made in China, all with this software embedded in it, and they installed them in military installations so the Chinese government could spy on the American. So China is linked with this.
Right.
Okay, because, and let me go back to Bill Clinton. I remember distinctly when Bill Clinton became president, he had the EPA issue an order that said only a certain type of clean burning coal can be used from now on in America because we're protecting the environment.
Yeah.
There was 2 places in the world where that type of coal could be found. One place was in the United States of America. The other place was in China. It just so happened that the place where that coal was in the United States was considered a wildlife area and could not be touched. So that forced us to buy coal from, guess who?
China.
And Bill Clinton, it was, I mean,
Well, Bill Clinton sold the rights to the, like, some missile defense or something system, didn't he?
He sold a base in San Francisco to the Chinese.
Yeah, and that's why the Chinese really wanted Hillary Clinton to win that election.
Absolutely. Listen, the Clintons have been in bed with the Chinese since before Bill Clinton was president because Rush Limbaugh used to tease it all the time about
Chaikovs.
Yeah, Chaikov. So China has been Harry Reid, Nevada. That whole thing about the cattle in Nevada and that rancher out there.
Oh yeah, those ranchers.
I'm not moving my cattle. That was Harry Reid who had promised the Chinese that they would get mineral rights to that land.
Yeah, and they fought them.
Yeah.
Those cattle guys fought
Absolutely.
them.
So
they won.
So think about it, Peter. Some things don't make sense, and some things do.
Right.
Epstein did not hang himself, and his lawyer, Epstein's lawyer, when Epstein got arrested, Epstein's lawyer released to the press a letter saying, "My client is a dead man."
I remember that. I watched that.
Okay? My client.
I don't think anybody believes that Epstein killed himself.
Nobody
I don't
does.
think there's anybody in the world that believes that. But he might not even be dead either. That's another
the
thing.
The night that he got beat up, that was
I knew he was dead.
That was a hit, and all of a sudden, all the power went over to Manhattan, where the jail was, mysteriously at the exact same time. And Q reported this. Q said, asked the question, why did the power go off at the exact same night?
And the cameras fail.
Right.
And both cameras fail.
So here's the thing about Q. I don't know. I can't say this, but Q is saying that at some point, and there's even been an examination into United States law on whether or not some of these people can be tried under military
Tribunals.
Tribunals. Instead of, now here's, okay, let me get back to Trump. He's been replacing FBI people, CIA people, and over 200 federal judges. If the case ever went to a federal court, if it was an Obama judge, throw it out. But now it's one of Trump's judges. So he's been replacing federal judges.
Oh yeah, more than any president ever.
Exactly. So Q says that's for a reason. Okay? So what has the theory is that at some point there's going to be an operation and that they're going to make an arrest. And Q says that the first arrest that they make will absolutely shock the entire world. But he's not saying who, and he's not saying when it's going to take place. Okay? So that's Q in a nutshell. Believe it or not, I don't know.
How long has he been around, that Q? How long has he been
Q's been dropping posts since 2017. Okay? Since after, in fact, Q released something. There was somebody that Trump hired in a certain position, national security advisor or something like that, and the day after, these Q
Roswell.
posts started coming out, and Q said, connect the dots. So, it does seem to be somebody that at least knows the way around. And they're telling us the president's going to be safe. He's backed by these generals, and he's backed by the military loving military guys. He goes over there all the time.
Oh yeah, they do.
They love him, and they got his. And they said there's pictures that Q will release of army guys in fatigues, guys at Gitmo that are holding up Q signs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're holding up Q signs, and they are standing at the entrance to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Okay.
Wow.
So there's Q guys down there. And he sends out pictures of Q people around the world. South Korea, India. There was a guy holding up a sign saying, I'm with Q or whatever. And so it's a lot of people. We're talking billions of people in America and around the world who have been watching the Q drops, the Q codes, to see what's going on. And they're the ones telling people, look, this virus going on. What if this is the basis for what Trump's going to do? What if getting everybody to stay home and having National Guard out on the streets? Don't be alarmed at that, is what Q is saying. Don't be alarmed at that, because we need this in place so we can do X needs to be in place so we can do Y and Z. In other words, so that's all I know about Q.
That's interesting.
Again, I can't tell you that that's true. I can't tell you it's not true. I don't know, but I've been reading it.
Well, it's interesting, that's for sure.
It's going to make a good movie one of these days.
Well, I've never heard of it before. I mean, I've heard about Q, but I've never really explored it. I never looked into it because I was like, yeah, okay, well, whatever.
Look up pictures. Go to Google, type in missile fired Air Force One, Washington State.
Wow.
And because something happened, and a bunch of people, it came out in the newspapers. What happened? Off the coast of so and so, and there's a close up of it. It's a missile. It's a missile.
Wow.
Okay. Allegedly fired at Air Force.
And you definitely have China that's really ticked too, because they've lost a lot of money.
Should have.
Because they were manipulating our currency for such a long time and doing all the stuff they were doing. So that's kind of interesting. We'll switch gears here.
All right.
Let's see here.
Picture.
All right.
I'll hold this up. Can you zoom?
If you emailed it to him, he can put it on too.
He can Google it. Okay. This was 1971. One of our subs surfaced.
I'll be right back. You keep going.
Okay. One of our subs surfaced because it had an air contact, and they caught on camera this UFO coming up out of
I forgot all about
water.
TikTok on it.
And they took snapshots of it. Okay, you can Google that. What I did was Googled. What did I Google? U.S. submarine photo UFO. And it's on a bunch of places. There's an article, express.co.uk, where, let's see here, let me go to that website and I'll read the article. Could leaked UFO photos taken from U.S. submarine in 71 prove existence of aliens? Photographs revealing bizarre UFOs claimed to have been taken by U.S. Navy submarine crew have been hailed as the best ever evidence of extraterrestrial visits to the Earth. Because, a lot of people are saying that they didn't see the UFO come down from the sky. They saw it come up like out of a mountain, or out of a lake, or out of the ocean. So the article says specialist researchers of UFOs believe the black and white images supposedly taken from the USS Trepang, Trepang, SSN 674 is the sub number, in March 1971 are evidence of secret U.S. aircraft tests or alien life forms looking to carry out an early form of fracking. I don't know about that, but Alex Mistretta, a paranormal investigator and author, investigated the images after they first appeared in French paranormal magazine Top Secret following an alleged leak. He claimed insiders told him the pictures were taken from the U.S. submarine on its journey between Iceland and Norway's Jan Mayen Island in the Atlantic Ocean, with the admiral on board at the time said to be Dean Reynolds, Admiral Dean Reynolds. Didn't show some of the pictures.
Sounds like a cowboy
So,
name. Dean Reynolds. Actor.
you know, I went to a church, good people, love the Lord, love the Bible, and you know, I understand that. You know, I've been reading UFO books since I was in 6th grade. And somebody recently, they said they were at a used bookstore and they saw a book on UFOs. They bought it and sent it to me. And when I got the book, I opened it up. I was looking at the pictures and I'm going, this is the book I had when I was in junior high. It's in one of the school library. I recognized the pictures. So I've been reading books on UFOs, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, you know, Yetis, Sasquatch, any, you know, haunted houses, any kind of mystery that there was. That's always been a fascination of mine. And so when in 1997, when God laid it on my heart to study the Bible, looking at Bible prophecy, one of the first thoughts I had in my mind was, hey, I'll do something on UFOs. Well, I didn't immediately do anything on UFOs. Didn't talk about it. I put out a video several years ago called UFOs, Chariots of the Beast. And it was just a one-time, it's like an hour, 25-minute long video. And I basically looked at Ezekiel 1, and I said that in Ezekiel 1 is a companion to Revelation 4. It's like two eyes looking at the same thing, but from different directions. Ezekiel says that one of the faces looked like an ox, but Revelation says it was a calf. Okay? I don't see a discrepancy. A calf is an ox.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what difference is there? But anyway, it's two ways. It's the Old and New Testament looking at the same thing. And I noted that Ezekiel called them living creatures. Revelation 4 called them beasts. So what I did was I connected them together. And this actually didn't come to me until I recorded it. It's one of those things that God said, Mike, connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was talking, I actually had to stop and I edited it out because I'm going, wow. And then I started talking again and I said, did you catch that? Where it says the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. I said these wheels are round like saucers, like discs. And then I said Revelation 4 doesn't call them living creatures, it calls them beasts. So I said, let's put those two together. The spirit of the beast is in the wheels. Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
that's the connection. So that's why I titled it Chariots of the Beast. And I talked about Von Daniken's book, Chariot of the Gods. He was partially right, because what Von Daniken did was he looked at, he's the whole guy started the whole ancient aliens thing, because he writes.
He's the astronaut theory, or is that different? It's
the ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Von Daniken. Von Daniken wrote his book back in the late '60s, and it took him years to find somebody to publish it.
Nobody wanted to touch it.
Nobody wanted to touch it because they thought he was nuts. But what he did was he looked at all these old paintings, all these old carvings, all these old statues, and he said, looks like they're in a spacesuit, or it looks like they're in a spaceship. And I remember reading Chariot of the Gods when I was in high school, reading all these UFO books. Von Daniken is looking at Ezekiel 1 and saying it's not God, even though you believe in God, it's not God, it's these extraterrestrials. And he said this is their flying ship. So I went, I'm a young Christian man, and I'm going,
What is it?
he's
Great
wrong, you know. But I never forgot about the idea.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
I did this one video back years ago.
Bill's giving you some reasons. Ah. it.
Didn't touch it until, again, last year. It just seemed like, because I knew that the Pentagon released the what's called the three videos: the Tic Tac, the Go Fast, and the UFO. What they are, starting in 2004, and it goes through like 2014. We have the most sophisticated video surveillance cameras with high def, overlooking infrared, with everything you can think of on the front of our jets. I mean, these jets are $1 billion operating. We have the best trained men and women in the world. So some of these scientists, egghead scientists, saying this is obviously misidentification. There's something wrong with our equipment.
Right.
If there's something wrong with our equipment, and these guys supposed to be protecting our borders, and
We're in a lot of trouble.
We're nuts. So that's just an argument for these guys to say we don't believe in UFOs and we don't take it seriously and you guys do. That's basically their scientific answer. But anyway, it was Tom DeLonge, Blink-182 rock star, who is a Freemason. He has us wearing compass on his guitar now.
Wow.
Okay, so he's an admitted Freemason. Freemasonry, what is Freemasonry about? Freemasonry is about the joining of heaven and earth. As is simple. Freemasonry. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's their handshake, the way they cross their legs, when they do their picture, their aprons. Everything in Masonry is about joining heaven and earth together. Everything is. You read Manly Hall, you read Albert Pike. Albert Pike says, this is heaven and this is the earth. And this symbol here, this is the heaven and this is the earth. And they're joined together. So then that takes you to Daniel chapter 2. They, which is Thor, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness, in high places, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So last year, the people at Fargo, the Red Rose Prophecy Conference, wanted me to submit what I was talking about. And I never know. So I'm just going, okay, UFOs and cryptid creatures. So then I'm going, well, let's see, I'm supposed to talk about this. I better do the research. So I started doing the research. A guy sent me a thumb drive. It had over 650 UFO books in it on PDF and ebook. So I've got that collection. I've collected a bunch of my own. I bought some from Amazon, downloaded anyway. So I've got all these books, and I'm doing. I like them in PDF form because you can search.
Yeah, it's easier.
You can search and look for keywords and so on.
Study is a lot easier.
Yeah, instead of reading a whole 680-page book.
You can skim it.
Yeah, I can skim through it and find what I want. But in looking at all of these, including Colonel Philip Corso's book, The Day After Roswell, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
But let me ask you a question real quick. What outside of the Word of God, obviously, what extra biblical source? Because I know how you work. I mean, I've been around you long enough to know that if you don't see it in the Bible, then you're not gonna deal with it. I know that not just because you say it, but I know it because I've known you for a while. So
Reputation.
it's what you hold to. It's your. So that's why when I hear you talk about something like this, I know you're being serious about it, and it's something you've thought about a lot. And because I know there's things that you won't touch
Grab on.
yourself, and you kind of back away from it if you're not 100% sure
Yeah.
what you're moving forward with, because it makes you nervous, even to the point you don't want to lead people astray in that sense. So I believe that. So what extra biblical source do you think has been the most influential, where you were like, how in the world did they gather that much information? Or in the sense of, wow, I picked up a lot on this that I never considered. I see it in the scriptures,
Yeah.
but this guy, he's not saved. How did he figure this out? It had to be the devil that showed him. Was is there some source, one of those
Yeah,
books?
there's a few of them. I couldn't say it's just one. Those that have listened to me over the years know that I reference Manly Hall's book, Secret Teachings of All Ages. And I have some other books by Manly Hall. Secret Teachings of All Ages is like an encyclopedia of the occult. And by the occult, I don't necessarily mean Satan worship. Like, I don't read books by Aleister Crowley. And if you like this, Levi, I just
Doesn't like
don't.
go. I'll be back in a
Those
week.
are bad guys. Those are the evil guys. But Manly Hall was a guy who's got a huge library, which is still open. It's open, I think, to the public. But he had an endowment. He had some rich person gave him tons of money and said, "Go research everything you find out and tell me what it is." And I'll do it. So he amassed this huge library and he read all these books and he gave all these speeches. But when he wrote Secret Teachings, it's about this thick. You can get a PDF of it. But what he did was he digested all that he wrote. It's like taking all these books, reading every one of them, and then writing down what's in them in a short, So that's what he did.
He's like an encyclopedia on that. He amassed all of it together in an
He tells
encyclopedia.
you, in essence, what the symbols of the ancient religions were all about. He said at the beginning, all of these religions basically were the same. They had different names for their gods, different names for their goddess, and in some cases different rituals. But the fact that they all had rituals that were similar, because if you take it and boil it down like a good stew, then all the flavors melt together and you get a picture. But he said basically there's one great big gigantic secret. So I used Secret Teachings of All Ages. I've read Morals and Dogma once. I read it through once. Every now and then I reference it.
Did he reference anything in that? Aliens or anything like that?
They didn't use the word, none of them either Pike nor Hall, because they were pre-47. 1947 is the year. Okay, after that, boom, aliens. But before, yeah, Crowley died in 47. But he did his lamb just before, okay? And then Crowley dies, so he's got two disciples. Jack Parsons.
Yep, that's it. Propulsion. Missile guy
Jack
or whatever.
Propulsion Laboratory.
Yeah, that guy.
They have the best rocket scientist other than Von Braun.
Disney.
Yeah. And then L. Ron Hubbard.
That's it. Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons got together, and they had, they wanted lamb, but they also wanted a goddess to come out called Alon.
Yeah.
Okay? And they got her. Okay? They got in touch with her. So anyway, which is like what Steve Greer's do. Anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so you asked, I gotta answer the question.
Yep.
Shut up, Bobby.
Yeah,
Anyway.
knock it off.
Alright, so anyway, Secret Teachings of All Ages, you go to a store,
Yep.
copy of it. And then, Philip Russo, because he is the colonel in the United States military. And these guys, for years, were talking about what they did when it came in.
And they're not flippant people.
No.
Military people like that are upper brass like that,
Yeah.
they're not very quick
It's not
stupidity.
violent. Me and my wife were out in the trailer the other day and we saw a light up in the sky. Came down and it's just
Hey, have you met my neighbor?
it's not, these guys are professionals. These guys are trained. These guys are hardened military guys who don't open their mouth.
No.
Some of these guys have
Tight-lipped.
But more so, coming out in the open while he's still book Day After Roswell. And then there's another book that he wrote, and he tells this. You can find this on YouTube. Look at Corso.
Okay, yeah, we gotta go.
Look at some interviews that he did on camera before he died.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video.
He was
Be
at
back in
one
a while.
time
Peace.
stationed at Roswell, and